You would think that you got to develop a strong mind all through life, reach into your 30s, 40s, and 50s. Now, not Christopher Ramsey. At 23, journey that he had and how strong his mind is that he shared, man, I got to tell you, kudos to his military single mom raising two kids. Her sacrifice for her country, traveling around the world, instilling discipline, confidence, commitment, motivation. That's what Christopher grabbed onto. He could have went through a different path. Suicide, drugs, alcohol. No, he didn't want any part of it. He shared how he was selfless when he was a bright star, athletic, football, track. He had a bright future, but no, injuries prevented that. And he learned what pain and suffering felt like. And when his team needed him, no, he showed different. You got to listen to this young man's story. His perception of what it takes to be the best you can be, what the unbroken symbol stands for, his story is so commendable. His confidence radiates through the screen. At 23, this is what this channel is all about. You have got to listen to the end. Check this. All right, here we go. Once again, Richard with the Unbroken Talk. I've got another outstanding young man next to me, Christopher Ramsey. But before I get into it, I got to tell you, man, this individual I had the pleasure of meeting and seeing shine under the lights at one of my Unbroken Naturals in Augusta, Georgia. He had the pleasure of showing the best version of himself that day and walked away with some hardware as well as the pro card where I go and say, it's all about the digits now. You know, it's all about the digits. That's what it's about. So he is a very young man, the age of 23, Christopher? Yeah, 23. So before I give him the mic, those of you that are tuning in, this is, once again, always the Unbroken Talk. It's my job to uncover, find, seek out regular individuals who feel the tug in their heart to want to share their journey. And as we see that unbroken symbol, which he's going to describe what it means to him towards the end, it's really about never giving up, man. Perseverance, dedication, hard work. And at the young age of 23, when you wrote in, I mean, I skimmed your Instagram. It's just, it's you, just a young stud, man, coming into, you're making me feel really old with my gray hair, but it's a young stud just growing naturally. And it's good to see, but you've got a really hard journey that you want to kick off. So without me saying anything further, I can't say when did it start, Christopher, because you're so young now. Take me where you want to start this journey to unfold on the struggles and trials and tribulations that you had in coming up, man. It's you. Take us there.
Man, so we could start. We will make it as long a story as short as possible, but it's the lifestyle overall. Like me as a whole, I was brought into this world, by my amazing mother. She did the show with me. She got me into bodybuilding and fitness and everything, but she is the rock of my family. She raised me and my sister in a single parent household in the military. So we spent all of our lives literally traveling every year, 2 years, picking up home, going to another home. Home was where the family was, for me. I never had that community or anything. So, but that in itself, it could have been hard in the aspect of getting close to people, but it also made me be who I am as far as being a leader, being able to motivate, push myself when no one else was around, because there were moments when there was no one around, mom was deployed overseas for years. So, it a lot of it starts from just that foundation, building independence in myself, building that confidence up in myself, and that travels through the years.
A shout out, kudos to mom, because she did outstanding as well. Just,
she got two pro cards.
Yeah, the Apple, and we'll absolutely going to get her on the show as well. But yes, it was a mother-son team. So we know the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? The strength of the mindset that she rubbed off, and the military, the discipline and that had radiate through your mom to teach you. So when she was deployed, did you have your siblings that were watching or other family members talk about, the growing up on? I know the early on of the mind frame was being developed by the strength of your mom, but how about others when she wasn't there? What was that like?
When she wasn't there, me and my sister, she's a year older than me. We would spend time, like we would hang out with our aunt, and our uncle. Shout out to Uncle Brad. He raised us. Well, they raised us, but he raised us for a lot of part of our younger childhood years. But for the most part, like our grandma came once in a blue moon to like watch over us, but you know, it was really just us. Like there were people in the neighborhood who could be there, like as far as like friends, mentors, whatever it was. She always tried to get me around good male role models, black male role models, especially because there's not a lot of that in the world, just to see what I can become in my life. For the most part, it was just us though, because it was a new place every so often.
I mean, that was difficult, but you had, and it all starts with it. And I talk about this all the time on the show, and anybody that wants to pursue, they have that defining moment, they have that inspiration, they have that desire to be the best version of themselves. It really starts with that mindset. And it sounds like, you got the instilled of a start of a strong mindset early on with your mom and what she radiated, and then with, your immediate family. And that's extremely important. What you just said is male role models, to be able to instill that. So and this is that both as you started growing up, going through school, going through high school, how did your mind develop towards, whether it was, did you pursue like athletics or anything outside of that? Talk to me through the going through, your grade schools and high schools and stuff. Where were you in that aspect?
Yeah. So going into high school, middle school was kind of all over the place. I had a knee injury. When I first got the knee injury, it was from football, and the doctors were like, "There's nothing wrong with it." A couple years later, found out it was broken, and I had to like, yeah, my knee was like shattered, my kneecap, and it started like molding together. But anyway, like I had to take like 5 to 6 months in a full leg cast and recover. That was my first major injury. Pretty depressing. Solitude.
And this happened in high school?
This happened right before high school, but in
Right
high
before?
school, yeah. And in high school, after that, recovered, went through those trials and tribulations. And then in high school, I was playing sports. I was playing football and I was running track. And those right there, those were my babies. I love track. But outside of that, I always had like moments with like small injuries and stuff like that until my senior year of high school. I got a shoulder surgery, and that was from football. And what happened was I was putting my team in front of myself, and I was putting their words and what they wanted in front of what I needed to do for myself and my health, and my longevity, as far as like just, being the only body that I have. I wasn't taking care of that, and it had a major toll on me, and I had to get shoulder surgery from that. And that was my
So
senior year
what
of high
I'm
school.
hearing, I mean, what I'm hearing is really, it's admirable. Meaning, kudos to you and your mindset, because you developed, it showed from what you just said, the power of your mind early on your discipline and to do what's right and wrong. And then when you sacrificed yourself and your own health, being selfless to your team, you thought of your body really less. And that was instilled by being introduced to pain before high school. The injuries you had, when you get those injuries, I don't have to tell you, it hurt. I'm sure. And you got to get used to that pain, right? Well, guess what? That's like the pain of prep, right? I mean, you got to get used to that pain, and you accommodated that. So your mind got even stronger. So then when you went to high school and you felt some pain, you just shared that it was like, yeah, you know what? My team needs it. I'm just going to push
Yeah.
through it anyway. but not realistically taking your mindset and really focusing on doing what's right or wrong that would enable you to have a better and longer career. So it's commendable, your thought process and your selflessness, but yet you learned a lesson. But you see where I'm going. Your mindset started to really develop. So then that takes us, okay, you get out of high school. Now take me on the journey. What continues? Because you had some loss coming, right?
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
major loss. So continue at high school. Did you college bound, or where were you at once high school was done?
My At the end of high school, my last track meet at high school, I found out that I got a Susan Thompson Buffett scholarship. It's a scholarship by Warren Buffett and his wife out in Nebraska.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it helps a lot of minority and low income families, families with, for people who show that they could bring something to the community. Why and how can you? So I got that scholarship. And then from there, I went to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I was not D1 bound. I was not thinking about sports. I was just thinking about, well, my mom wants this, so I'm going to do what my mom wants. I don't care.
Right.
Along the way, the itch was still itching. I was still working out. It was a lifestyle for me. I saw the track team practicing one day. I knew someone on the track team. We competed a couple of times against each other. And then I had him hook me up with the coaches, and I got to try out, and I walked on to the Nebraska track team. That was a pretty pivotal moment in my life right there.
Walk on, my man. D1.
Yeah.
Good
It was
stuff.
crazy.
And how did the cards unfold?
The cards were unfolding amazingly. My first year, right before COVID hit, it was 2019. I went to indoor championships, Big Ten championships. I placed 8th. I say for my first year, it was pretty good.
That is pretty damn good, man. From a walk-on, that's outstanding, my friend.
Yeah,
outstanding.
So it was nice. There was a lot of connections, a lot of great people, a lot of experiences and moments through the university and their mentorship and their leadership that I learned going out there.
That's commendable, and I'm proud of you for that. So how did the season or the career wrap up with
the career?
How'd you wrap
it
up?
Wrapped up. It wrapped up for sure. So this past year, actually, last school year, so last May, let's say it was March, is when I found out that I had like a major injury. I had a hip impingement and one hip labrum. And yeah, so that was most definitely wear and tear over the years. And before that, I got like three MRIs, nothing showed anything. I got an x-ray and it showed everything. And they were like, yo, this is the worst we've seen. So in May of last year, is when I got my surgery, and then I had a long recovery process through that. So that's how the season wrapped up. They got me healthy, and then we were basically like, well, business is business. I'm not running track anymore. I can't compete on the same level.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall, unfortunately. So let's plug into the mental capacity. How did you deal with, here you are with, and I know it's going to be tough probably to say, but walk on D and be like a shining light to, again, an injury on the body, just not keeping up with the mind. How did you deal with all that?
It was most definitely tough. It was a huge culture shock for me from going from like being a student athlete, because as a student athlete, you get like, there's a lot of amenities that you get that you don't get just as a student. So I was blessed to experience that side. And then going from that, I had to figure out what it was like to live without it. Like I had so much time on my hands. I was just trying to figure out what to do. I was feeling like I wasn't like amounting to my potential. And then at that point too, I wasn't in a relationship yet. I ended up getting in a relationship out of fear of just the unknown. I wanted something stable in my life. And that was like, it was a decision that I made that I needed to go through and stuff. I can't say whether it was the best or the worst decision, but I've learned a lot from just the experience. It was, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you filled a void, my friend. That's what you did. Are you faith driven, man?
I am very much so faith driven. Shout out to my boy Parsa, my freshman year of college. I was going crazy, and he met me one day. He asked me and my friend Matt if we wanted to play spike ball, invited me to church. And then I went to church with him because I said that I would. I'm not a liar.
Right,
But after
right.
I went to church with him, I didn't see him anymore.
Yeah,
He was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
still, he was one of those cool people that would still like reach out, you know, try to get me to, you know, pursue my faith with the Lord. And then, yeah, this past year, I reached out to him instead of him reaching out to me, and then started building back. We built our relationship up. My relationship with God is going good. So, you know,
And
it's
that's
going well.
that's fantastic because you know that, and the reason why I say that is obviously, you know, being the higher power in our Lord and Savior. When you have that void, especially, you know, not having specifically solid, you know, the authority in your life. I know your mom is your rock, but if the male figure isn't specifically, you know, on a daily basis as much in theory, you know, your mom plus your dad, there is that piece. I know I'm speaking from experience. It kind of fills that void in essence where you know that, you know, that trust in. But, you know, you are an amazing individual because, you know, the void that you needed to fill, and we'll talk about the relationship, I know, but it could have went totally south. Was drugs or alcohol ever into that mix on a hard level or no? What Talk to me about that.
Not I was never much of a drinker. Like going into college, I was drinking a little bit, but after everything like went south for me, I was really trying to find my way. Like I was connecting with the people that I knew who were in areas that I enjoyed doing, like marketing, some people that I collaborated with in the past just to give myself to fill the time. But at that point in my life, I wasn't trying to, you know, go backwards. I was trying to figure out how do I move forward from
Yeah,
this, you know?
you know, I don't know if you're hearing yourself as a young man, but that is not the normal when somebody has major disappointment like you share. I mean, think about the story, and this is where, you know, the whole symbol creates that one word under, you know, the heart being, you know, your mind, body, soul, and those heartbeats, the, you know, representing your life experience. Well, your life experience is really just getting started, but you at an early age, you know, there was a big void, but it was saturated by love and individuals of family, and with your mom instilling the values, and you just ran with those values to develop the mindset that when you know, got hurt and had pain, still could have been turning down the wrong path, drugs and alcohol. No, you picked yourself up, you went through the pain, went through high school, and then became selfless because you know, your team first. Got hurt, beat the shit out of yourself again, and continually doing it. So, you know, your mind that you developed, Christopher, is so commendable, and it's hard to stop. And now you probably feel that, you know, any hurdle is a no-brainer for you. I mean, you got this with that attitude. Am I right or wrong?
So, I
Yeah.
mean, in a sense, like, yes, but no. Like, if you care that I speak about some hurdles real quick.
Yes. Tell me.
Yeah, like, geez, if I cry, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna be honest. I've been
Go
feeling my
ahead.
feelings. Okay. All right. So, graduating from college, this was the biggest thing. Well, actually, with the hip surgery thing, I had someone who was really close to me. His name was Ved. So through like my recovery process through college, like even before I knew him, which is pretty weird. His dad and my mom worked together when I was 1 years old, and we were out in Italy. It was pretty crazy, but yeah, like he helped me through a lot of that stuff, helping me just stay on the right track. He would ask me if I like went to the gym today, stuff like that, just keeping me locked in with my dreams and my goals. So he's someone who inspired me a lot through that process. And the day before I graduated, he actually hold on.
Take your time, brother. Take your time.
Yeah, the day before I graduated, he lost his life, and that played a big, like, it was a big piece of my life because I never experienced that personally where I lost someone like that close to me. Yeah, so that was a big thing. So after like graduating and stuff, I was just ready to get out of there. That was one big hurdle. And from there, I could not control my emotions. Like I used to be the person who was like, I got feelings, but whatever, it's still time to work. I'm not going to feel the feelings and I'm going to keep working. But now I'm more so the person like, okay, I have feelings. Let me feel these feelings. Let me cry. Let me understand why, what's going on. What can I do about it? Okay, now let me get working. I feel like it's a better way to do it from that. But that was a major hurdle. Most definitely, it's stuff's teaching me new things every single day. Another hurdle that I was not prepared for, but I knew was coming. A couple weeks ago, this was actually right after the show, like a week after the show. I got out of my relationship with my ex, and that's pretty tough for me, just because like I love pretty hard and I
Mhm.
care a lot about people, and I don't like to lie to people, but like people are different, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
right.
that's something else I'm still figuring out to this day, but I'm being blessed still to this day. I'm still going through figuring out what to do, feeling my feelings in.
But when I was referring to, and my condolences to your friend, I know that is extremely painful, and the pain will never, it will never go away. It will just be able to more or less control it, because as time goes on, you're more in reality on that it actually happened versus I can't believe it happened. I relate to that enormously. And then as far as the relationship, these things, unfortunately, these things happen. But when I was referring to, regarding how strong your mind is, you just expressed how strong your mind is. You may not see it, and I didn't mean it by, well, you'll be that man, won't show his emotions and just be numb. You matured in essence, and you know who you are. You know who you are, and you have the confidence in who you are, where you don't have to bury it. You're strong enough to be able to accept the circumstances on what's in front of you right now, emotionally, by loss, painfully, by a relationship, and you're handling it appropriately. Handling it appropriately doesn't mean, I'm going to be Mr. Tough Guy and you won't see me cry. Handling appropriately is actually giving yourself time to mourn, giving your time to show emotion, getting it off. You got the strong enough mind that you are going to stay sound body and soul and let those emotions come out, rather than keep it buried inside down deep, and then eventually have to talk to counseling to work through what's troubling you with triggers.
Mhm.
You're not finding, you're not finding comfort in alcohol, drugs, and burying it in abusive, being the abuser where other people do. So that's when I stand to what I say is your mind is powerful, my friend. And
Thank
even
you.
more so, it became mature at 23 to honestly say, and share, you allow yourself to be emotional. That is fucking huge. And that is coming from the building of early on and the support system you've had, and you're just creating it, and your mind's getting stronger and stronger. Whereas 23, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when you want to be successful with whatever you set your sights out, your mind is going to be untouchable for yourself, meaning I got this and I will handle it accordingly. And
Mhm.
accordingly is whether you're showing emotion, showing a stone face, taking it on, or just readjusting and coping with it. Follow? That's
Yeah,
what you develop, which is commendable for a
thank
23-year-old
you.
year old man. Yeah, so good stuff. So as far as now, your position, done with school, graduated, or finishing up?
Yeah, I graduated in May.
In May. Okay, congratulations. What's on the horizon for you? What do you
Uh,
say?
so right now I do a lot of work, freelance work with helping people grow their social media platforms. I do a lot of photography, videography, and editing. I do personal training and coaching, and my social medias as well have been treating me very well. So just growing like that, making connections, figuring out how to help people, but also pay the bills and just
That's
keep
awesome,
grinding like
man.
that.
Good
For sure.
stuff. I'm very proud of you. That's fantastic. So anything that you would want to say to a young you or anybody listening that might have went through similar, what kind of advice would you shout out? What would you want to say to somebody?
A couple of my biggest things, I would say first and foremost, you gotta believe in yourself. That is honestly the nail on the head right there. Like you're gonna have people from your mom, your siblings, your best friends who look at what you're doing and say no, but it's not their vision, it's your vision, you know. Set a foundation for it, and that foundation is gonna have to be day by day work for whatever your dreams are. Understand the reality of things as well. You gotta bring belief with reality, and you gotta take the actions, because without actions there's nothing that's going to happen. But some examples off of that, like when I first started social media, I was getting laughed at. People were talking about me. People were making fun of me every time I pulled my phone out, whatever. But now I'm like able to do podcasts with great people like you, Richard. I'm able to,
Appreciate
you
it.
know, of course, I'm able to share my story, help people make it through hard times. I'm able to make income off of this that's helping me pay my bills and help out my family. And the people who are laughing at me are now asking me for help. So, you know,
Isn't that ironic, my friend?
it is very
Isn't that ironic? Those are
crazy.
words of wisdom, man. I mean, listen, I got to say, at 23 years old, man, you got an old soul and a solid foundation, man. Kudos to your mom, because obviously she's the star on making the apple keep very close to the tree. You know,
She is.
that is absolutely. And wrapping up, now that you had a chance to see, feel, and listen, the unbroken symbol itself, what kind of representation does it have for you?
Man, it represents, to me, it represents perseverance. It represents not giving up. And if I look at my lifestyle and compare it to Unbroken, it represents me because I am unbroken.
It's awesome, man. Thanks so much for
Yes, sir.
Christopher. I look forward to seeing you on stage, collecting those pro checks,
Me
as
too.
well as great things, man. Yeah, I'm gonna keep in tune, brother. Thanks for coming
Thank
on, my
you.
friend.
Thanks for having me.
All right.